And now, The Last Word with Rick Casey.
I was amused this week to read a piece by Express News columnist Gilbert Garcia. He detailed how the indicted Crystal City manager / city attorney, James Jonas, had written a screed blaming his troubles on La Raza Unida, a political party that has been dead for more than 3 decades. The publicity bio was apparently meant to be distributed to Fox News and other such outlets to build national support before last week's bribery indictments of Jonas and a majority of the Crystal City Council. In it, Jonas refers to, quote, the daily La Raza machinations, corruption, and influence that keeps poor communities poor and steeped in crime. Well, this isn't the first time La Raza Unida had been charged with corruption. It happened 40 years ago when the party controlled Crystal City and its school board. 4 years earlier, its gubernatorial candidate had won 6% statewide. It won a majority in 1 South Texas county and a third of the votes in 15 heavily Mexican-American counties. Little wonder that Attorney General John Hill sent his investigators down to Crystal City to look for dirt in 1976. He didn't mention it at the time, but the next year he would announce for governor. Republicans had already busted up Texas as a one-party state, having elected John Tower to the U.S. Senate and Bill Clements governor. The last thing Hill needed was Raza Unida siphoning off traditionally Democratic Hispanic voters. So in June 1976, the San Antonio Express-News blared this front-page headline: 11 indictments hit 3 in Crystal. When Angel Noe Gonzalez took over as school superintendent in 1970, Crystal City school buildings were decrepit. Few teachers spoke Spanish, though it was the first language for a substantial majority of students, and the dropout rate was abysmal. When he left 4 years later for a job in Washington with the Department of Education, nearly all the teachers were bilingual, the dropout rate had been lowered, and more students were heading off to college, including the likes of Harvard and Stanford, and a bond issue had been passed for new schools. And that's where the indictments came in. They accused Gonzalez of hiring 2 buddies for no-show jobs related to school construction. Gonzalez was stunned by the indictments. He turned for help to a then 42-year-old lawyer named Phil Hardberger. The prosecution charged Gonzalez with paying a man named Aidan Cantu, who was also indicted, for doing absolutely no work. The trial lasted a week. During it, Hardberger unrolled a 3-foot-high, 30-foot-long timeline color-coded to show day by day invoices signed, phone calls made, reports submitted, and other material documenting Cantu's work as supervisor of new school construction. Crystal City Police Chief and school board member Ramon Garza, a key prosecution witness, testified he didn't even know Cantu was on the payroll for his first 8 months. Hardberger produced board minutes showing that Garza had been present for numerous reports by Cantu and had actually made a motion in connection with one of them. Witness after witness testified against Cantu. Hardberger undermined them all. At several points, the jury laughed. Quote, I noticed that when they walked out of the courtroom, they would walk over and shake hands with Gonzalez, said one juror, like they felt ashamed or sorry for him or something. The jury promptly voted 12-0 for acquittal. Charges against the other 2 defendants were dropped. Newspapers around the state had put the indictments on the front page, but only the Express News did so with Gonzalez's acquittal. Many newspapers didn't even run the story. The publicity had its effect on an already weakened Raza Unida party. The next year, its candidate for governor, San Antonio Mario Cumpian, won only 14,213 votes, or 0.6%. Nevertheless, Hill's efforts were in vain. He lost to former Governor Clements by nearly 17,000 votes. I'd like to say the lesson is that crime doesn't pay, but unfortunately, trumped-up, politically motivated prosecutions aren't illegal. And that's it for Texas Week. See you next time.